This is Mike and C, and this is another episode of You Can't Handle the Truth. So what's on our slate for today?
We're talking all Florida today, Mike.
All Florida. That sounds fun.
Oh,
Or does it?
Florida.
Yeah, I mean, that could be a boring topic too, though, depending on what we're talking.
I don't know. I think there's a lot to talk about here.
Okay.
Florida definitely keeps it interesting. It's I call it I refer to it as the Wild Wild West.
Okay. Why is that?
And that's because we're over here in this super, what's deemed a kind of conservative state. All right. But it's also a very litigious state, which usually leads you to have more like liberal tones, liberal, laws and things like that. But the laws are kind of contradictory to how much litigation goes on. So I think that ultimately creates a little bit of an issue for us.
Absolutely. I think everything creates issues.
And specifically, yeah, because it makes the cases we're pursuing harder to pursue and overcome.
Yeah.
And then in addition to that, Florida's the only state without mandatory bodily injury insurance liability coverage. Like we're the only state that doesn't require our drivers on the roads to have this.
So it's coverage that basically protects an injured party when they're in an auto accident. But can't you just say that, of course, lawyers want mandatory bodily injury because that gives us more of an ability to go after insurance companies.
Yeah.
Right? Isn't that the rub?
Right. Well, okay. So
Yeah.
Sure. But to counter that, but what you want, you have to carry bodily injury coverage to carry uninsured motorist coverage and to protect yourself. So that's what ultimately the goal is here. You're not carrying bodily injury coverage to carry bodily injury coverage. You're carrying bodily injury coverage so that you can carry uninsured motorist coverage because that's required to carry. You have to carry bodily injury coverage to carry uninsured motorist coverage here in the state of Florida. And that's what protects you. That's what protects you from these crazy people on the road who are driving around uninsured, underinsured, and you can protect you and your family and yourself by carrying uninsured motorist coverage. And that's the message. That's what we want to carry.
But see, I can just go through my employer and get my health insurance and pay for all my medical bills and not have to go after some poor guy's insurance who's paying premiums. Like what are you talking about? Like,
well,
hello?
Poor guy. First of all, this person was negligent and hit you. It could have been more than just mere negligence, right? But at the end of the day, who pays for your pain and suffering? Who pays for all the inconvenience of everything you have to go through? I always say to clients, even if you're not even injured, getting in an accident is so inconvenient. You have to deal with like 4 different parties who are calling you, the different insurance because PIP's separate from property damage and property damage separate from bodily injury. Bodily injury is separate from urine. There's just a whole plethora of navigation around it. And then on top of that, your car's damaged. You don't have a vehicle. You're trying to get a rental. This insurance company's saying one thing, your insurance company's saying the other thing. Which insurance company do you go with? I mean, it's just really confusing. It's a confusing process.
Lots of moving parts. And the thing also I'm on your side here, on some level, right? So I mean, it's the future medical bills you're reasonably certain to incur. And that's something that ultimately health insurance will not pay for. And what is that? Who knows? I mean, if you don't need any future medical treatment, maybe you don't. But if you do, surgery, injections, future physical therapy, the case pays for that. So that would be a reason as well. You can't just say, well, the health insurance is going to cover everything. It's not going to cover that surgery that you might need in 3 years.
Right.
Because of the accident.
You might not have health insurance in 3 years. So you might be working for an employer who doesn't offer it. So I think that's always a silly argument.
Right.
What's sad is people who sell insurance have actually said that to me. And, I just went off.
Well, and I don't know if the public knows this, but you can actually use health insurance inside of the case, right? That's common, actually. Most people are using health insurance.
And a lot of people usually don't know that. They think something opposite of that. I don't know if the health insurance industry kind of leads them to believe that, or they get turned down in a situation. But yeah, it's so difficult to navigate through a personal injury claim here in the state of Florida. And it's really important to have a good attorney to help you do it.
Right, a good attorney. Right.
Just because there's so many intricacies. And speaking of Florida, let's talk about that most recent case we had that was set for trial.
Yeah, I mean, that was a case where you had, I think it was a depreciation of a shoulder injury. Right? I mean, she had 2 shoulder surgeries set for trial, and they didn't offer reasonable compensation until the eve of trial because in reality, it didn't seem like they wanted to try the case. They just wanted to prolong it.
Right.
And again, it's not to point fingers, but it's a reality because I think the accident was in was it in 2018 or 2019 probably, and on the eve of trial in 2023, the case gets resolved. And you can say, well, man, that's dragging it out. Well, yeah, because the difference in the offer was $50,000 in 2019 and $400,000 in 2023.
Yeah.
But we had to fight for that, though, because they weren't going to pay for her surgery.
Yeah, they didn't want to compensate her for her injuries
Right.
because shoulders, extremities, for some reason, like aren't as valuable as like the spine or head injuries, right? That's
Right.
kind of like,
It's not true.
that's the rhetoric that they kind of, the insurance companies believe, essentially. So I thought that that one was interesting to bring up
Yeah.
because she had two surgeries, or
Mhm.
they had two surgeries.
Right
and,
shoulder and left shoulder.
and they just almost dismissed them. They were offering
They being the other insurance.
they being the other insurance
Right.
company. And in this particular case, there was adequate insurance. So
Plenty of insurance.
luckily for her, there was adequate insurance. But ultimately, if she did have health insurance.
Right.
So yes, she could have pursued this and had, the medical treatment she needed.
Pay for the surgery.
But who pays for the pain and suffering of having to have two surgeries?
Right.
For not being able to pursue your work because of recovery time for surgeries, for
Lost
not
weight.
being able to lift your shoulders over a certain height for a significant period of time.
Right.
Like, that's why it's important to carry coverage. And that's why attorneys are important, and, in order to help you pursue your claim, because
you get the right ones that are.
health insurance isn't going to pay for it.
Yeah, you get the right ones that are willing to go the whole way. It's a big deal. It's all a matter of trust. So, great topic.
Yeah. And while we're talking about Florida, and because we're in Tampa,
Yeah.
we have to talk about Tom Brady.
Tom Brady. I think he's finally retired.
Yeah.
I think he should retire. I think he's a great quarterback. I still don't think he's the greatest of all time. I'm an '80s guy, and I Joe Montana was 4 for 4 in Super Bowls and didn't throw one damn interception. He won every single one. I think Brady's been to like 8 and has won like 5. I don't even
Listen.
9 and won 7. He's great, but he also didn't get hit as much as Joe Montana used to get hit. I love Joe Montana.
I love the fact that he was here in Tampa and he brought the Bucks a win.
He's a great
Well,
He's a great football player.
that was great. He brought kind of the excitement back into football for Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
But I'm more interested in it because is he gonna are him and Giselle gonna get back together?
I heard he's dating a swimsuit model now.
Oh, is that what's happening?
Yeah, I think that's a fact. Yeah,
She's a
he's not.
swimsuit model.
My man, he's already moved on. Already, he has moved on, and you know what? What's sad to me is that we both played sports. And what's sad to me, that's not what's sad, but what's sad to me is that he is retiring after what was a terrible loss. And I don't know if it was a function of him getting older, a function of the system, or just the players around him. It probably was a combination of all three. You always hear people say that. It's a combination of all three. But I think that it's sad that he's leaving that way because he was so great.
Yeah, that he
You know,
didn't
it
go
was so
out.
great.
He didn't go out with a bang.
Right.
A win.
So
It lost his family in the
maybe he sneaks back in with another team. I don't know. I don't think so. What do you think?
I saw a funny comment on social media that said, imagine you just walking your dog and Brady's doing his retirement video, because I think he did it out on a public beach.
Oh, exactly.
Just right here in the front, And so anyway, that was
In Tampa? Or St. Pete? Okay. Nice. No, great player, and I don't know what's going to happen to the Bucks moving forward, but it might not be good.
but it doesn't really matter because it sounds like Tampa Bay is the best place to live. Apparently, Forbes magazine ranked it the #1 place to live.
Why do you think that is? Why would Tampa Bay be the #1 place to live?
I personally think because there's water everywhere and everyone loves water.
Okay.
People are attracted to water, and water is essential to people's mental health.
Yeah.
And so for me, it's the water. And being a beach girl, I grew up in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. I grew up a block away from the beach my whole life. So Tampa to me in Florida was the place to be because there's water everywhere.
I'm interested to know what other people think about it. I mean, I'm a 4th generation Tampaite, and I've seen this place grow. Is it Tampaite or
Tampanian.
Yes, Tampanian. I've seen this place grow. I mean, I remember when there wasn't even the Veterans Expressway, and you have to take Anderson Road to get across town if you lived in Northdale, and now it's completely changed. There's so many people here. You used to go somewhere, and you'd always see someone you knew.
Yeah.
Now it's all about connection.
It's crazy that you're a 4th generation Tampanian because those are really rare. It's a very transient city, but it's great to be. I think it's personally great to be in a place that's growing and that people want to be in.
Absolutely.
It's especially good for our jobs.
Yep. And if that absolutely is. But here's the thing. Well, this is why, we hate lawyers because they want to make money. Well, I don't know anybody that doesn't make money. I mean, it's kind of just goes with the territory, right?
Yeah.
But, trusting your lawyer is the big thing. When getting that communication, and it doesn't necessarily have to be the people you're looking at on a YouTube video. It could be anybody. But you have to establish that with any person you hire. I know we've gone off from the Tampa issue, but Tampa has grown a lot, a lot, and it's amazing. We're getting so many new people, and is that what's causing problems with cases? Like more people influxing into these areas?
Yeah, probably the different types of drivers, and then, more people coming here. But if you want to know about more Tampa specific things, drop it in the comments, leave it in the comments, like, subscribe, come back and see us.
Come back and see us.
All right. Bye.
Bye.